And here with us now is Barry Gardiner, former Shadow Minister for Energy and Climate Change and Labour MP for Brent North. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, how do you resolve this one? I mean, we've been talking and talking and talking about it. We've heard from viewers who are in real financial crises.
Can I just say, those viewers of viewers who wrote into you and said, look, can I help other people? Thank goodness we have that spirit in the country. And even though you're not able to do that, please, if you're in difficulty with your fuel bill, go to Citizens Advice Bureau, come to your MP. We can help you with your, showing how to make sure you're getting the help that you need from all the authorities. It's really important that people do seek out.
Because Archie, who wrote it, he had enough money to just keep enough heating going that might keep him going for another 5 days, but he doesn't then get his universal credit for another 11 or 12 days. How is he meant to cope for that 11 or 12 days? What sort of help will be available for him?
It is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, what we've seen is that the companies who are producing this oil and gas are making record profits. Okay, they've actually given £44 billion to their shareholders in the past 3 years, and yet they haven't paid a penny in tax. So we're talking Shell and BP.
They haven't paid any money in tax.
Not a penny in tax from Shell and BP for 3 years. Look at their filings from last October, right? There was a big article about it. Nothing in tax. And of course,
they haven't got away with that then. It's accruing, presumably.
They've made excess profits because the wholesale price of gas has increased, and that's global demand. We understand that, because what's been happening is there was a cold winter in the 1920 winter. That winter period was very cold, particularly in Europe, but also what then happened was they had to do the running repairs for their nuclear power stations and their coal-fired power stations. That had got a backlog of repairs that were needed.
And that, though, that is why they defend themselves by saying we have to look after our shareholders, because without our shareholders, we wouldn't have an industry. They pay for the infrastructure, they pay for the nuclear power.
And this is the point. This Chancellor, he has given 130% super tax deductibles, right? Now, that means that when they go and develop an oil field in the North Sea, the Cambo oil field, for example, Shell's just pulled out of that, but when they go and develop that, they then get 100% of all the costs of developing it, and then 30% on top. Now, that's coming from you and me as taxpayers.
That being tax-free?
That is coming from... No, not tax-free. They get that money.
Capital back.
It's a tax deductible. So they're getting that money. And that's why they're making these huge profits, and that's why what I've been saying is we need a windfall tax on those companies. They're the ones who are making the profits, and their excess profits. And it's we, the taxpayer, that are subsidising them with these tax deductions.
But we spoke to an expert at Imperial College earlier on this morning, and he was saying the problem with the windfall tax, and he was saying that it was introduced at the start of the Blair government, was that it didn't work.
And this one,
And it drove American energy companies out of the market because they just saw their profits dive, couldn't afford to keep going.
I'm sorry, the North Sea is the most profitable and the most invested in oil and gas field in the world. And actually it has the lowest tax take. So there are more companies doing that in the North Sea than in anywhere else in the world. But we also need to fix the structure that we charge in this company. So it's not just the oil and gas companies that are extracting it out of the ground, it's the suppliers. Because what happens at the moment is the poorest people who use least energy pay most per unit of energy. So if you've got a swimming pool that you're heating, if you've got a huge cinema in your home, right, you pay less per unit of energy than somebody who is struggling, 3 kids, single parent, is scrimping and saving on their energy bills, not knowing whether to heat or eat. These are the problems with the structure of the market, and we need to change that. I mean, it's got a technical name.
If it's that stark a picture as you've just painted, Why doesn't Rishi Sunak see that? Why doesn't Boris Johnson see that? Why don't they look at it and say, this is unfair?
Rishi Sunak is an ex-hedge fund manager, right? His whole background is corporate finance. His whole background is making the sort of profits, those momentous profits, as Shell called them, the 44 billion that have gone into shareholders' pockets. That's his background. I challenged Rishi Sunak in the lobby one day. I said, surely on this super tax deductible, are you not going to put a green filter? Are you not going to say that, yes, we want to boost productivity, we want to boost investment in companies, but it shouldn't be companies that are polluting, that are going against all our objectives in terms of changing to a low-carbon economy. And he looked at me and he just absolutely didn't get it. And he said, no, it's doing what it should do. It's boosting productivity. I said, but it's not. It's polluting.
Well, look, we're almost out of time. We've literally got 30 seconds left. What I need to ask you is, and our viewers would not forgive me, because we get a lot of emails actually about it, saying it's 3 weeks now since the Chinese spy scandal, Christine Lee, came to light. You said at the time you were angry about it. Do you have regrets now, looking back, that more wasn't done?
I would have welcomed the security services coming to me and saying, not tell us about this relationship, but actually saying, we think you should break it off. If there's a problem, I think MPs, we have no ability to track back the source of funds like they do. We can only declare them properly, which of course was done in my case. But it would have been helpful had the security services been able to say, you know what? Just distance yourself.
Look, Barry Gardiner, it's really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.